What's up, people? It's another edition of the New Breed Podcast, the world's best new metal podcast from two dudes who are old enough to be there, gray beards included. I'm one half of your hosting duo, Jay Horskow. With me, I have my partner in crime, the notorious TIM, Tim Mr. Jr. Tim, how goes?
Great. I'm just hoping I didn't record that onto the cloud by accident. So hopefully I did. Like an asshole.
Well, we just wait and then we just pull it down. Not a big deal. Not a big deal
Yeah,
at all.
more
Okay,
steps. More steps for
yeah,
me to fucking deal
more work,
with.
more work. Which we got to talk about that after the show because I think I can offset some of the stuff that you've been doing. Tim does a lot of the legwork behind the folks, behind the scenes. Everybody. All right. So what are we talking about this week? This week we're doing a deep dive. And this week we're doing a deep dive on an album that is not new metal, and I don't care what you say. Get out of my face. It is not new metal. However, it was new metal adjacent. And this band did go on to record a new metal album, which you have already deep dived. But we're starting with the sophomore album from the Bay Area's Machine Head. And we're going to talk about The More Things Change.
Well, we got to start out first though.
Okay.
When was this album released again? What's the
Uh,
exact date of this
the
record?
exact date, I was a sophomore in college living in the Triad Apartments, March 25th, 1997.
So you're a sophomore and then they're trying to get out of their sophomore slump. That's just
Yes.
wild to me right there.
Yes, yes. I remember picking up this album at the same time. I want to say I bought Cold Chamber the same day.
Oh, did that
The
come out the
self-titled.
same that came out the same day?
I don't know if it was the same day. It was definitely the same time. Cole, that was self-titled, right? Chamber ST
Yeah.
release date was February 11th. So right before that. And then what was Power Man 5? Because I know that was in the pile at the same time too. Power Man 5000, uh, Mega Kung Fu release date. That came out on February 25th.
So
So
not
I,
too
I
far.
remember I bought all three of them at the same time. I came home with a pile. My roommate was like, "What is this shit you're buying at Sam Goody?" Here we
Yeah,
are.
back then thinking it's all trash. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So let's start out here because what's the main thing? We already talked about it. The main thing for the second record is what? The sophomore slump.
Sophomore slump.
When I think about this record, though, I don't think that happens at all because
Nope.
honestly, Burn My Eyes is, I would say, and a lot of people say, a landmark record in metal. And I mean, who's going to disagree with that?
That it is 5 minute songs, solos. Uh and at this point
Groove.
you have to remember at the time, true, like thrash metal's kind of a underground on its way out type of thing. These guys are playing a thrash slash groove hybrid, and I'm sorry, the first three songs on just burn my eyes, banger, banger, banger.
Oh yeah, that whole record's a banger.
Yes, yeah, the whole
Absolute
album is
banger.
great. Not gonna lie, but just the first couple was just like, holy shit! Like we're coming out the gate like this. Yes.
Dude, and then coming to this record, I think you follow the same trajectory because the first three songs on this record are absolute bangers as well.
Yo, I pulled it up today and I'm like, oh, we're deep diving this. I gotta listen to it. It starts with what is it, 10 ton hammer,
Yeah, great
and
song.
then it's my jukebox here is refreshing. Then is what the more things change. Then struck a nerve, down to nothing. 10 ton hammer, take my scars.
Yeah,
Struck a nerve, down to none. Front lines, spine.
and then what is it? Bay of
Bay
Pigs,
of Pigs, Violate, which is like 7.5 minutes. We're going to talk about
absolute
that.
great track.
Blistering, and then Blood of the Zodiac. So here I'm going to offer my one criticism of this album early on. Machine Head is known for a monster closer, right? Block on the last album. This is not a closer I enjoy. I don't really listen to this song frequently. I find it kind of meanders, and it really doesn't go anywhere for me. And if we're telling the future, if you think about it, Tim, that is an indication of where they're going to go from Ashes to Empires, or
Yeah,
from Ashes to Empires, and the Blackening. But at this point, I was like, not entirely sold.
yeah, but I think at the same time, it to me, in my opinion, it kind of I kind of feel like these two records coexist in the same lane as the same
Oh,
sound, though.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, I don't really think there's much drop off at all. And to tell you the truth, when I listen to both of these records in sync with each other, I'm like, it's so hard to pick the better one because
Yeah.
honestly, I just feel like they're the same record, but they're just I don't know. It's
Well,
really hard to.
the only true difference, Tim, we're going to be honest here, is the drumming. That's the only true difference because they're both McLean and Chris Contos are both talented drummers. They just have a little bit different style, and that shows up in the music.
I think Contos is the better drummer, honestly, but
Okay,
that's just me. I think a
okay.
lot of people would be like, "Yeah, you're an idiot," but whatever.
That whole I think it's Spine, where the verse is bow down to no one, bow down to none, and Dave McLean is doing the double kick rolls. Like, yo, I stood next
Yeah,
to that dude at Ozzfest '97. I stood next to him, had a conversation with him, had no idea who the fuck he was until I saw him on stage with Machine Head. He had dyed orange hair with leopard rings,
oh my
like a
god.
buzz cut, dyed orange with brown rings. And I was like, "Hey, what's up, buddy?" And he was like, "Yo, Earth Crisis." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, whatever." And we just started kind of, I had an Earth Crisis shirt on. We kind of chatted, and then he gets up on stage, and I'm like, "Well, shit."
Well, shit, that was cool. So, all right, so record comes out. We got the we got the expectations of is it going to match with this record? So you got to go against what 400,000 copies sold
Which is at that point, Tim, that was the best-selling Roadrunner debut, 400,000 copies, which is wild.
because but dude, could you imagine right now selling 400,000 copies of anything? Well,
No.
it's not going to happen because there's if you're selling 400,000 of any physical media right now, I think the only person that could do that is what a pop star probably who
Um,
fucking what's
well,
that chick's name?
Chapel Roan, Sabrina Carpenter.
Yeah, something like that. Or the
She
one
looks
that's
like a
married
sex
to
bot.
fucking Travis Kelsey. What the fuck is her name?
Oh, Taylor Swift, she's terrible.
Yeah, yeah.
Just she looks like a giant cricket. She looks like an anthropomorphic cricket. Uh, Tim, the first album came out August '94, right?
Okay.
Um, Colin Richardson produced it. Best-selling debut, 400,000. This was on the back of a demo that they did for $800 that Monty Connor caught wind of. And people forget Rob Flynn was in Violence, which is
Yeah.
still a band. They're still kicking around. Phil
He's not
Demmel.
Rob doesn't do violence, so does he? No, he doesn't.
No, no. Well, Phil Demmel was in Violence with him. And when they had, Aru leaves and Logan Lee comes back and leaves and all that sort of stuff, Phil filled in, I think, to the end of the band. But this is another interesting band that I think we need to talk about. If you go back and look at, Tim, was it Dynamo 94 that they
95.
played? 95?
Yeah.
This is another one of those bands that was huge in Europe.
Yeah, it was
Huge.
that was the set where it was cornrows, Cro-Mag shirts, the whole band
Uh,
doing jumps.
yes.
And I'm
Yes.
one of them people that always says everybody loves that video. I think it's fucking cringy as hell for some reason.
It's
I don't know why.
it's cringy and it's cheesy. But
Yeah.
goddamn don't I grin and
It sounds amazing, but super cringy with all the jumping. Like it's like forced jumps and like I don't know. For some reason, it just gives me the cringy like feeling.
yeah, it is, but I kind of enjoy it. Now we probably, you know what, Tim, we should do a deep dive on the best live recorded performance to ever come out of Dynamo, which is Nail Bomb.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah, you're
video, I
right.
watch that
Yeah,
video
that's sick actually.
all the time. But anyway, keep going, keep going.
So so everyone's expecting Burn My Eyes too, and I pretty much think you pretty much get that here. I'm not gonna lie. To me, it's Burn My Eyes too. Yes, you got the different members and stuff, but this it's the same shit, dude.
It is. I think the biggest change is you see more of the hardcore influence. The songs are shorter, right?
Yeah,
And they have monster bridges. So the
yeah,
mosh parts are typically the bridge.
yeah. But the other thing about this record, it leads to that pressure of getting the record out and having it be as successful as Burn My
Mm-hmm.
Eyes, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
really think that was the case here because when you think about it, when they go from this record, you have the struggles in between the band. Contos leaves. Then you go to Well, I think we'll get to that too. Doesn't Logan Mater leave at this
After
record too? After.
after this record, he leaves and they replace him with Aru Luster, who goes from the Burning Red that we did. I actually looked it up. We did this with Chris Wojo
Oh
ages ago.
shit. Yeah, we did. I wonder how he's doing.
And then we did Defend This album with Supercharger with Detox.
I remember that one, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, it was yeah, they had some lineup shit going on. But you're right, they had the pressure was on to duplicate that to replicate that 400,000 copy moving debut album.
Yeah, record comes out, Contos leaves, and then you got a bunch of fill-in members. The touring gets fucking crazy. I remember that back then, like him leaving.
And
And
being
then
like,
they had
yo,
and they were completely like that's one of them feelings. It's like one of your main integral members leaves, and then it just completely shits on your live show. It completely shits on probably your focus of
yep,
doing the live shows. And then you know what else it probably does? Because I was in a band, and when integral members leave, like your drummer, that's really good. Then you like don't have the confidence anymore. You get on stage and you're like, all right, I know my front line's good, but like my back line is just not good right now. So then everybody
yep,
shifts to a shit mood.
yep,
Everybody's probably drinking more. They're probably just fucking flying it in, or not flying it in.
phoning
They're
it in,
phoning it in,
phoning it in, yep,
and then it just hurts everybody at the same time. And then
and yeah.
and then I kind of feel like that's what go why they go to that sound on the Burning Red. That's just my opinion right
Oh,
here.
I would not be surprised, not be surprised
Yeah.
at all.
It's
So
like you don't have the confidence now, and then you go to that record. And I don't want to just say he did that just because it was the trend and the way he was dressed and blah, blah, blah. I think you kind of got to figure you lose that integral member, and then it's like, all right, we got to dumb this down now.
yeah, yeah, I don't disagree. So back to Contos leaving. He leaves because he has a fight with Rob Flynn,
Yeah.
who, as history has proven, can probably be a little bit difficult to deal with. I think that's an understatement. So he fights with Rob Flynn, and Contos was a big fan of funk and hip hop, so he brought a different kind of like I don't know, a different kind of groove to that sound. And now they got to replace him. And you're right. I think that I saw they did one or two tours in '94 or '95. They're blowing up in Europe, and yet Contos leaves, and they have all these fill-in jabronis, and it doesn't really work. And at that point in '95, they find Dave McClain.
Yeah. Wasn't he was in what, Sacred Reich?
Sacred Reich, which I didn't realize until we did the research for this album.
Yeah, I had absolutely no clue of that either. But don't get me wrong, he's definitely a great drummer.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And he definitely like I don't think there's a big step off on More Things Change at all.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Because but Contos as a drummer, like if you watch the videos when they came back, what was that, 3 years ago, and they did like them Burn My Eyes tours,
Yeah,
you sat there because I watched the rehearsal videos and I'm like, that is what I was missing from this band. Because I don't care what anyone says, that dude's drumming made that record, in my
he's a
opinion.
monster.
A
He
monster
hits
drummer.
really hard, and he's got a flair that your ear can pick it out. Yep,
He's got that swing to him, and he's got the
yep,
confidence as a drummer. And that dude,
yes,
when you have confidence as a drummer, that changes fucking everything, dude. Because
right.
there's drummers that I played with that are just like I'm like, oh my god, dude. And then
But yeah,
you
the
find
guy
a
who
good
walks in
one.
carrying his balls in a wheelbarrow, like
Yeah,
South Park, you're like,
yeah.
oh, okay,
Like, dude, I ever tell you this story how we lost our drummer in live set and we had a dude come in and he set his drum. Remember I told you this? He set
yeah,
his drums up
easily
upside
your
down.
funniest story where he had everything upside down and it was all fucked up, and you guys are just watching him like, what is this dude doing?
And I fucking kicked him out and he told me I was a retard and didn't know how to what I was like, oh my God. That was one of the greatest things in my life watching that. But when we finally found a good drummer after that, it completely changed the entire band. And I
Mm-hmm.
get, dude, you could ask Vince who played guitar with me. It completely changed everything. Our songs got better. Our fucking stage presence got better. Everything gets better with a good member back there. So that just leads to a lot of good shit, in
Yes,
my opinion.
yeah. And so speaking of Dave McClain, right? So doesn't he goes from Sacred Reich was Arizona. So he moves up into the Bay in Oakland, and he's the new guy. He's got the new guy. He's got all this. He's excited. He's got all this energy. Yeah, we're gonna do some really cool shit. However, however, uh, at this point they're partying. The
Yeah.
band's partying. They're in the studio. They're partying. Who are they hanging out with? Well, who did they come off Ozzfest '97 and tour with as direct support? Pantera. Uh, not surprising that these guys are having trouble with the recording. They end up having trouble recording, and then Logan eventually just peace out.
Let's go into the recording
Okay.
process because I remember back then. Who was that? Colin Richardson they went to,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and it took forever for Rob to like the sound. It was three mixes in, and he's like, "All right, finally, we're good."
Yep. 6 months. 6 months and three completely different mixes.
Yo,
Yes.
how much money do you spend on three different mixes with Colin Richardson now, dude? How much that would
I don't.
be
I mean, I looked for that.
ridiculous.
Like, I looked for costs. I couldn't find anything. If there's anybody watching, listening that knows or found it, please let us know because I'm very curious.
Yeah, I mean, because when you're trying to find the perfect sound and it's just not clicking in your head, you know the one thing you got to do, you got to sleep on it, dude. You got to sleep on it, and you got to sleep on it sober because when you sleep on it drunk and you wake up, you're still pretty much fucked up anyway. So it's like you write a song one night. I wake up in the morning, I go, "What the fuck is this shit?" You know what I mean?
My
And
God. My
you
God.
do
What
it
did I
sober,
do?
and you
Yeah.
wake up, and you're like, "Oh, that's fucking chilling." So how much of that comes to like you being a professional? What's that term? A
Professionalism?
perfectionist. No, you're being a
Perfectionist. Yeah.
perfectionist, but you're not making your brain a perfectionist at the same time. Like, do you get what I'm saying here?
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, so you talked about Colin Richardson. You talked about, it took 6 months, three different mixes. They also had some weird, if I remember, some weird phantom shit happen where they
Oh,
would have
they used the
vocals and
same
guitars
studio.
missed. Well, they had tracks that were lost, like vocal tracks, guitar tracks that they disappeared from the tapes. They couldn't find them. They had to re-record them.
I know when they were recording this that Metallica just did Load, I think it was.
Yes.
So they
Yes.
they were going off of like expectations of that. And it's like at the same time when I think about that, it's like why? Why do
Yeah,
you
like
why
what?
do you need to go off of Load? Because Load is a terrible record. Let's just be honest here.
Yeah.
But I think but you got to think too. Metallica's probably back then is Rob's what like heroes because the music they write. It's got to be one of
Yeah.
his
And
heroes
they're from the Bay
bands.
Area. So they're like
Exactly.
hometown
Yeah.
heroes. Yeah.
So you got to put out something that comparable to that. But I don't think you had a different monster back then.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
using expectations for your band for that is just fucking stupid. And I kind of think that's what pretty much leans into them taking forever to put it out. It just doesn't make sense to me because I think when you're your own band, you gotta make yourself happy, not what other you don't have to make him happy. You gotta make yourself happy.
Right. Right.
So to me, that's just stupid, and I don't. I mean, at this point, it worked. So
Can we talk about Rob Flynn needing Activia?
did he really?
Well, you and I did that research where he had extreme constipation. He was so stressed.
Yeah,
6
yeah.
days. Why you no poop? Why you no poop? God bless. God bless. So the other thing that becomes a not a cultural icon, but something that pays forward out of this session. Colin Richardson's producing it. Andy Sneap is mixing it.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
this is when they first pair up, and they're like, oh, uh, what's the amps that they use, Tim? Did
Oh,
they use
dude,
a
and this is the best part of this because I didn't realize it until reading about this. So they used a 5150, a PV 5150, which is
okay?
synonymous with who? You should even know this.
Is it a Dino?
No, it's Eddie Van Halen.
Oh wow,
That was his amp. Then you used a Mesa Boogie on the other side, so you could create the guitar tone that pretty much defined metal for what a decade. And you know what I think? I think it defines it still because if you listen to any band, Even with the amp sims these days, they're all using 5150, 5153s, 6505 pluses. It's all the same shit in metal. They're all using Mesa boogies, Mark IVs,
Mm,
all
mm,
that shit. They still use the same stuff. So if this comes out in what, 96 you said?
7.
Not all right. So this comes out in 97, we're in 2026. So it's 29 years. This has laid the landscape of metal guitar sounds for 30 years at this point,
Yes.
which
Yes.
is absolutely fucking crazy when you think about it. That there's two amps right now that people are the like my last amp I bought was a 6505, which is just, a step up if you want to call that.
Mm.
But it sounds exactly the same in my opinion. Not exactly the same, but it's damn near close.
So speaking of materials and speaking of recording and the studio and how it worked, and when I was doing the research, right, and again for those that are looking for some inside baseball, Tim and I swap notes back and forth. We do some internet dumpster diving. I read an article which talks about how they recorded the 2-inch analog tape,
Yeah.
and when they wanted to make changes because it was on analog tape, it required 4-hour console recalls. And I had no idea what that term meant. What does that mean? So when I did some digging, I came to learn that what that means is when you're recording on analog to tape, you have a giant mixing board,
Yeah.
right? And if you want to go back and patch something in and change something, you basically, that recall is resetting every knob, switch, fader, component, patch bays, getting all of that correct to re-record one piece. I never thought about that, but they said uh it's so intricate. It's very, very, very time consuming. For 48 tracks, it can take anywhere from 3 to 4 hours. And I also saw if a mistake is made during the recall and print, they got to do the whole thing all over again, which
Yeah, well,
is
that's
insane.
also if you remember when we talked about like Ministry doing stuff to tape, and they would have to do an edit. They would have to literally cut the tape in half
Mm-hmm.
and put it back together somehow, and that was like their editing process, which I still don't understand to this day how they did that, because when you cut a tape in half, it skips, right?
If you watch that Sound City documentary, they actually show somebody doing it, where they cut the tape, and they use the equivalent of Scotch tape to patch it. It's really fascinating, but you and I have messed around. So I used Audacity when I used to master podcasts. You use a different tool, right? And
Yeah,
if you think about it, you and I can look at a waveform and we'll know, oh, well, that's the unhealthy pause. That's where Jay went, for like 3 seconds. You
yeah,
can tell just by looking at it. Dude, with tape, you're just making a charcoal pencil mark, razor blade, scotch tape. It's nuts.
yeah.
It's
That's
nuts.
absolutely insane. The pressure of that has to be numbing right there,
Yes.
especially when you have a major label band and you got to do
Yep.
that. Like
And an
now I'm
expensive
good.
producer. Yep.
Yeah, I'm not doing it because that's just too much stress on my part. I'm not
And
doing
an
it.
AR guy who's sitting there going, "Yo, you done? You done? You
Yeah,
done? You're not done?
and
Or you
then
done?"
and then your singer can't shit for 6 days.
He was literally full of shit.
I do think though using Andy Sneap on this was huge because you got like the whole sonics of that record are pretty much great.
Yes.
Because here's another thing about back then compared to now. Everything is fucking digitalized now, and you just know what you're getting now. Like you get some bands that like, and I'll take Periphery for example. I don't know what it is about Periphery. When they put out records, them things just sound sonically amazing. The shit is crisp. It sounds great. It's overproduced, but it's not so overproduced where you're just like, oh my god, them records sound great. But if I compare that to the like to then, like this Machine Head record sounds absolutely incredible.
Uh, so just as an aside, I pulled up Andy Sneap and his discography. In 1997, he did 6 albums. You ready? Sorry, 5 albums. You ready for this, Tim?
Yeah.
Machine Head, The More Things Change. Napalm Death, Inside the Torn Apart. Exodus, Another Lesson in Violence. Skin Lab, Bound, Gagged, and Blindfolded. And Napalm Death's Breed to Breathe EP.
Okay.
That is, you want to talk about a run. In '98, he does Obituary, Earth Crisis, Skin Lab, Testament. In '99, oh no, that's in '98 he does Obituary and Earth Crisis. '99 he does Testament. 2000 he does Nevermore and Fozzy. '01 he does Arch Enemy, Creator, Testament. '02 he does Killswitch Engage, Alive or Just Breathing, Living Sacrifice, The Revolting Room by Skin Lab, and Slow Path's Deliverance.
Damn.
2003, The Ashes of Empires, Opeth, Arch Enemy, Nevermore. 2004, Killswitch, The End of Heartache, A Snowcap Romance, 36 Crazy Fists, Caliban's The Opposite of From Within, Bullet for My Valentine. This guy's a monster. Jesus, and it just
Yeah,
keeps going.
yeah, that discography is unbelievable.
The most recent album Andy Sneap has touched is he did Parasomnia by Dream Theater in 25. And I'm trying to think what's the last thing we'd recognize. He did Aggression Continuum in 2021, Fear Factory.
Okay. Let's get into we talked about the production, but we got to talk about the lyrics too,
Okay, okay.
because there's a shift there from what is it, socio-political commentary,
Yep, yep. He goes from politics to like drugs and yeah,
self-destruction,
the
and
personal
yeah.
shit he was going through because everybody was on drugs at this point. The other thing I learned, I think I'd seen this before, but it jumped out at me when I did the research. Rob Flynn struggles with bulimia.
Oh yeah. Oh shit, I remember hearing about that now. Yeah.
Yeah, which is, I mean, that's that and
Didn't
drugs. My God,
I think he was on Josta talking about that a while ago.
I
Like
think
back
so.
then,
Yes.
how he would get on stage and or like throw up before he went on all the time, and then he'd be
Yep.
drinking
Yep.
all the time, and oh yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
and that led to like all the problems that he had with it. Yeah, it's yeah, that is. I don't think a lot of people understand how bad bulimia is and all that shit.
Uh, and because that's anorexia is you don't eat. Bulimia is binge and purge, right?
Yeah.
The what it does to your throat, what it does to your teeth, what it does to your stomach.
Oh my God, your
It's
fucking brain. Oh, it's gotta
oh
rot so much shit. And plus,
oh
then all your nutrients are gone. And then being
yeah.
a singer, like, how does that work? You're a singer and you're
It's
doing
gotta
that.
flambe your vocal cords.
Oh my God, dude. But I think at the same time, when you're a singer and you're screaming like that, no one's gonna really recognize it.
No,
But at the same
no.
time, like you get off a tour, he was probably torched, dude, forever, for a
You,
while. I mean,
you know what I think of when I think of bulimia, and here's a reference that you'll get. Um, that one season of Fargo where David Thewlis plays the hitman, the mob coordinator who has fucked up teeth. It's the same season with Ewan McGregor where he plays the brothers. Do you remember that season?
no.
David Thewlis is a British actor. He played the lead in The Island of Dr. Moreau. His character has these fucked up, gnarly looking teeth, like to the point where he talks, and I'm like, oh God, why did they do that on purpose? And then it comes into the story that he had bulimia, and I'm like, I just
Oh
figured it's because he
damn.
was British. No offense to our British friends. No offense. No offense. He is British, by the way. It's not me talking shit. All right,
Oh,
Tim.
so the teeth weren't real though.
No, no, he was wearing like caps on him to show like to pretend he was acting. Someone believe me. I'm like, oh God, Tim, just Google it. And you'll go. You'll go to the dentist immediately.
Yeah. So record comes out and it pretty much gets praised by a bunch of publications. Metal Hammer hails it as a masterclass. And you know what? I'm gonna agree with this statement here, but I think that Burn My Eyes is more of the masterclass in this, to tell you the truth. Because I think back then, like what else comes out after that? And you really can't you can't compare Demanufactured to that because it's a totally different genre in my
In
opinion.
the same vein was
Nail Bomb maybe,
Nail Bomb, uh,
Sepultura.
Chaos AD.
Yeah.
No, it was at this point they're on almost on Roots. It's between Chaos AD and Roots. You have
Wait, no,
Nail
no,
Bomb.
97. So Demanufacture came before that.
Yes.
I see. I'm thinking 94 will Burn My Eyes. All right, so I'm an idiot here. So 97, we just talked about 97. I can't think of the goddamn records that came out.
Roadrunner 1997 releases. Here we go. On Just Roadrunner, they had Coal Chamber,
Can't compare it to Cold Chamber.
Soul Searching Sun by Life of Agony.
Can't compare
Um,
it.
what else did we have? Shit.
While you're looking that up, I know that one of the UK publishers gave it a 1 out of 10 for a
Yeah,
backlash against rising new metal
it
sound.
was terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, but that record's not even new metal. Like
No,
he
no, they
must
were adjacent.
that must have been like that publication just having a beef with him or some shit like that. Like, how do you give that record a 1 out of 10 and be serious about it? Like, how do you even go to sleep that night?
You're not a serious person. You're not a
Like,
serious
that's
person.
absolutely crazy, dude. So, album reaches 138 on the Billboard 200. Uh, I'm very surprised at that, actually.
Uh, where is it? Roadrunner Records. I can't find what they put out in uh, pages that work for me. I really would try to find what else they put out in '97.
All good. All right, so
Okay.
album reaches, we got 138 on the Billboard 200. A pretty much an improvement over the debut's U.S. chart performance. It also, as of 1998, sold 400,000 copies. So that is not even gold, is it?
No, no.
Gold's 500, right?
Yes, yes. So to your point, right? I missed it because I was looking up the Roadrunner stuff. All the metal publications loved this album. The mainstream hated it. So Metal Hammer loved it. NME gave it a 1 out of 10.
That was a UK one, right?
Yeah. Um, All Music called it quote aggro business as usual. Eat a dick. Uh, it reached number 138 in Billboard. It's wild. Yep, 400K.
Which is not terrible,
No,
but
no.
I think
And
coming off of Burn My Eyes, it's just as good
well,
comparably.
yes, while it didn't hit the European heights, right? Because Europe really dragged this band along. It's a lot like who do we talk about? Amen.
Yeah.
We've talked about. We've talked about American Head Charge. Bands that got a huge pop overseas, and here it was kind of middling, lukewarm. How, regardless, this solidifies them. They are officially at this point a top tier metal act, and in a genre that was not doing well collectively, colloquially, what have you. Uh, didn't do as well.
Well, you got to think through 97, new metal's getting big.
Yes.
So everybody's looking for the new metal band, which
Mm-hmm.
we'll go into in a couple minutes what happened. But I think, and I didn't even put this into perspective when I was making my comment earlier about them just phoning it in for Burning Red. But when what's his name leaves, I kind of think that pretty much lends to it now that I think about it. And I don't remember if I even jumped on that point earlier, but when Logan leaves, like that had to destroy Rob's like whole process as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because then you go into it and you're like, well, what the fuck is next? And then I think you pretty much take on that ego thing where it's like, all right, well, I'm gonna jump into new metal and now I'm gonna put out a record that's better than everything that's came out before.
Yes. Yes.
Which don't get me wrong, Burning Red has a lot of great songs. It does. But it's not comparable to a lot of other new
No.
metal records at all. Like,
No.
let's be honest here. It's
No.
it's 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 a great record, but it's not comparable. That's just my
Agreed.
opinion.
It's a band in transition, in phase transition to
That's
what
the
comes
exact word
next.
I'm looking
Yeah.
for. The
Uh,
transition right there.
so another thing to think about is Machine Head did a shit ton of touring off this album before we get to Logan leaving, right? So it starts off, it comes out in March 97. The first big tour they do is that summer. They played the first touring instance of Ozzfest in 97. They were on the main stage frequently. When I saw them at Giant Stadium, they were on the second stage. Then they did a headlining tour where they took out Napalm Death, Cold Chamber, Entombed, and Skin Lab, right? Then they did Dynamo. They were direct support for Pantera on the Great Southern Trendkill Tour in 97, fall of 97. And then they did in 98, they were doing headline shows. And I believe they went out, if I remember correctly, they went out with Snot because I saw that
Oh.
show. The Sunday night was Sunday night was VOD, A Day in the Life, One King Down, Fahrenheit 451. And the next night, Monday night, was Machine Head, Snot, and somebody else. I forget who. It's
That's
wild.
wild. That is
Yeah.
very wild. I love
But
how
yeah,
he
I
said the
saw them a
same thing.
shit ton. I saw that. They actually, at one point, they took out Reveille and Primer 55 off of the Burning Red.
That
But
doesn't
anyway,
surprise me
so
at all.
so I bring this up to say that they did a hell of a lot of touring with a hell of a lot of bands with some really big names.
Yeah, and back then you could do that shit. Nowadays you
Mm-hmm.
ain't doing it. All right, so Logan leaves. I think the story is he comes to practice high as shit on meth or something like that.
Yep, yep. Which is, I mean, interesting move, but okay.
Yeah, I wonder how many. I wonder how much of that tour he was on meth though.
It's kind of interesting because there's these discussions about how fucked up they all were on drugs, but now you look at that guy and he's this workout monster,
Yeah, he's like fucking jacked.
jacked. Is all get
Well,
like rip your arm off and beat you to death with it, jacked.
we got to remember too, the dudes that come off of that shit, they find the next thing they're addicted to, and it usually turns into the gym,
Uh huh.
cigarettes,
Mm-hmm.
monsters, shit.
Four
It's like
Loco, yeah.
I went from meth to monster. Yeah,
Four
poor
Loco.
loco.
But so you're right. So he shows up high. He gets thrown out. The bassist Adam Deuce, they were best friends since they were little kids, so I think that had to be really rough for Deuce. Uh,
Yeah, because then he call it like a betrayal of the friendship, him leaving.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I if I remember correctly, Rob Flynn actually spirals out. He spirals out, and he almost calls it a day
Which
because,
is absolutely crazy.
yeah, because apparently it was so stressful for him. He was like, um, there was an interview I read where he talked about, for so long in my life I had been fighting everything around me, and I couldn't fight everything around me anymore. And I started taking out my Swift self after Logan quit. I just spiraled so hard out of control that it reached a point where I was either just going to live or not live. And at that point, he had a moment, found a replacement for Logan, and they went back into the studio and started doing the new thing.
And that lends to my point too, where it's like you go into the Burning Red with a completely different style, and it's like maybe that lends to it where okay, Logan leaves. Fuck all the shit we did before. We're gonna reintroduce ourselves with this. But then you go a little too far with Supercharger. That's just my opinion. So you go a little too
Yeah,
far into it, buddy.
yeah.
Enough.
Yep, yep.
But then I
Uh,
mean you come back with Through the Ashes of Empires and the one after before that. I forget the actual discography at this point, but
yeah. What was the one before that? Was it the Blackening?
or was it after? I think
Ah,
Through the Ashes was the comeback record after Supercharger.
I don't remember.
We need a Jamie.
I
God
don't
damn
remember.
it,
Jamie,
man.
look that up, buddy. But
But
go
to
on.
to 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 get back to that though, I think the band needed them two records to come back to what they are now because
Yes,
them two records after man are absolute bangers. Like just them like the songs are 6 minutes long. They're heavy as shit. I mean, if you take out Burning Red and Supercharger, just pretend them albums were never made, and then you go right to the record after, like that band really doesn't change.
it makes sense.
It
Yeah.
makes complete sense to where they are, where they went. I mean, it's
Yep.
just I don't know. I kind of think if you put out a Supercharger too, the band completely is dead after that.
Oh,
Because
one
who's going to
hundred
keep
percent.
buying records of listening to that shit? Because if you go to a Machine Head show and you ask 10 people what they think of Supercharger, I guarantee nine of them are going to go, ugh.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
kind of like a
It's
Metallica fan when you ask them about like Load,
Saint Anger.
Reload, or
The
Saint
Load and
Anger,
Reload Metallica fans are apparently fine with, but Saint Anger, they do not play one song from that album live.
which is not surprising at all. And I don't
Ah,
even like that record. I don't listen to it. I just
dude,
know that people call it shit.
I'm not gonna lie, kind of bummed. Kind of bummed that they didn't play anything. Like at least play the title track.
Yeah, bring out that snare for one song, dude.
Get out a fucking keg from the concession stand and dong 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 dong. Did I
Put a
send you the
mic on it.
video? Did I send you the video somebody did? It's Saint Anger, but every snare hit is the Taco Bell gong. Did I send
No.
that to you?
Oh.
Oh, I'll find it and send it to you. I sent it to Dan, and he was in tears because
Oh
every
my
it's the
God.
Taco Bell bell every time he hits the snare. I so I came across the video, speaking of Metallica, of it was Kirk Hammett complaining about how they're not doing solos for Saint Anger. And his exact quote was something along the lines of, "This is going to date this album, and we are never ever going to be able to come back to it because it's going to be too dated." Holy shit, he was right.
100% correct. It's kind of like Diablos from Slayer.
Yes, yes. Ooh, they don't. By the way, did you see they're doing a reunion show in San Francisco where they're playing Rain and Blood in full,
Mhm.
or Hell Awaits in full? One of them.
It's Rain and Blood.
Uh, I would go see that if they did that album.
It's 40 years of Rain and Blood.
That is insane. But you're right. I mean, M- Machine Head kind of disappears for a hot minute. They do their new metal thing. Rob Flynn's bouncing around with Crashing Around You in the worst new metal haircut of all time. And he grows his hair out long and dyes it back black and wears ripped jeans, gets a baritone guitar, and they record Through the Ashes of Empires and then the Blackening. And then it's like and then it was like the Locust something or other was the album after that.
Let me ask you this: if Burn My Eyes comes out and we'll say 92, right,
Mm-hmm.
and then More Things Change comes out in 95, 2 years earlier, what do you think is the trajectory of this band after that? Because 95, you only had Korn that puts out the self title, but which didn't really get huge till we'll say what, two, maybe a year and a half later.
Yeah, I think
Because I don't think it was huge in 94. It got
no.
bigger as it went. Like before Life is Peachy,
No,
that's
they
when
were
that
still getting
band
booed
was.
opening for Ozzy and shit.
That's what I mean. Like if they put out that records 2 years before, I don't even think that new metal records happen, honestly.
No, no, they probably make something closer to the Blackening, but not the Blackening, but not as heavy, because they're still carrying that sound forward. There's no new metal influence to bite off of.
Or Logan leaves in 95 and they completely just break up and then Rob goes
Mm,
into a different band. That's
yeah,
a super possibility right there.
yeah,
See,
it,
that's a question you ask the actual person, in my opinion.
yes, yes. What would have happened? I didn't Rob Flynn play? Was he in Brujeria?
I don't think so.
Members. Uh,
That
no,
was Dino,
no. It was Dino, Shane Embury,
Shane Embry. That's right.
Billy Gould from Faith No More, Raymond Herrera from Fear Factory, Jesse Pintado from Napalm Death. Tony Campos apparently played with them
Did he really?
for a bit. Yeah, he did vocals one year.
He's a
Nick
dude I would
Barker
love to get on.
from Cradle of Filth, Jeff Walker from Carcass. Geez,
Oh,
they had
Nick
everybody
Barker
playing in
played
this
on
band.
them.
Yeah, Nick Barker played drums from 2002 to 2005 and then 16 to 22. Mm. I saw them live with Pinata Protest, which was a Mexicali luchador metal band.
Oh my
And Cattle
god.
Decapitation was the headliner. It was wild.
Yeah, that had to be a good one.
Yeah. So let's go back to the More Things Change. So I actually think I think you're right. This is still a monster album, and Dave McClain shows up, and him plus Logan plus Rob Flynn plus Adam Deuce, that turns into this uh, monster wall of just fucking heavy groove based heavy. This album, I would argue, this album holds up. Not as good as Burn My Eyes, but it holds up really, really, really well. If you take Burn My Eyes and listen to it first, and then you go to this, you go, oh, okay. So they just tightened up their songs, made them a bit shorter, did some more experimental stuff. Makes total sense. If you showed up in 1994 with a time machine and handed a Machine Head fan a copy of Supercharger, they would probably stab you in the face.
Yeah, they wouldn't even believe it's the same band.
Yes. They'd be like, who is this? No, no, no. By the way, I didn't know this. Doing research for this, Excuse me. At one point, Dave McClain, the drummer, leaves Machine Head, joins that band Systematic, that new metal butt rock crossover band.
He joined. Oh, did he really?
He joins them and then he quits and comes back to Machine Head.
Oh shit, I didn't know that at all.
Yeah, I came across that. That was a weird, not a dumpster dive, but it was a weird dive where I saw that and I kind of went down that rabbit hole. But yeah, he left, went to Systematic, and then came back.
Didn't well, wasn't Dave in the band for 23 years though?
I think so. Yes.
So
Yes.
23 years. When did he join? 97. So
Yes,
80, so
Dave
2007,
McClain.
17. So he left in 2020. Yeah, because they've had a revolving door of members.
Yeah.
I think Rob and the bassist are the only true members left.
Yeah, and I think Deuce left. Yeah, he was in Machine Head for let me see here. He started playing with them in 97. The last album he did with them was 18.
Oh
23
wow.
years total.
Yeah, because they've had Vogue from Decapitated on guitar for a while.
Yep.
They had I forget who the dude is now. But yeah, they've had a revolving door. So they're basically in that they're basically at the point now where it's just like Rob and a bunch of different casting members who just fill in every now and then. Because people last for 2 years, they leave. Then they say Rob's a dickhead and I don't want to play with him ever again. That's the shit that
Hmm.
always happens. It's just like, all right, he's a fucking egomaniac. I'm done with his bullshit. I'm surprised Dino has never been in Machine.
Right, because it's just gives somebody else to fight with. I just read that I just looked it up because I didn't look it up when we were doing the digging. So Deuce joins the band. Adam Deuce joins the band in let's see here. He played there for 21 years
Damn. Okay.
and he left the band. He was fired in 2013. And Rob Flynn fired him. And Deuce ends up turns around and suing the remaining. So he sues Rob Flynn, Phil Demmel, and Dave McClain for trademark infringement, breach of partnership, and defamation. Apparently, they settled it 7 months later, which is kind of interesting. He was all pissed because he did not participate in Unto the Locust. He said that he wrote several riffs and sent it to Rob Flynn, who rejected him, and all it did was create friction. So yeah, the I just don't think Rob Flynn's someone I want to hang out with.
I would interview
I mean, I would get a couple
him.
beers with the dude, but I don't really have an interest in hanging out with him. But anyway, I can't explain what a monster. For those that weren't around, this album was in '97. Seeing them on that second stage at Ozzfest, and if you find there are pictures from the magazine Metal Hammer. They had a photographer there in '97 at Giant Stadium, and his live shots are unbelievable. Rob Flynn's wearing a VOD windbreaker. It was so cool that not only just to see them, right? The second stage was it was Coal Chamber, it was Neurosis, it was Machine Head, it was Downset. Just see a Power Man 5000, just seeing those bands being that close, it was just so fucking awesome. It was so awesome, and to see that the pictures that came out of there, where that was the show that I was at. I had that poster hanging up. There's a poster of him, Metal Hammer, Ozzfest '97.
Yeah,
There
I don't
is
think kids these days realize like how much different it was back then comparable to now. Like just dude, like have you ever when's the last time you went to a metal show and a band comes on stage and the entire crowd erupts into cheering and like just like you could just see a look on people's faces like just an absolute like bliss that their favorite band's coming on stage. Like nowadays
yes,
a band comes out and everyone's like, "Oh, all right, cool. Like we're about to do this." Like you
yep.
don't get that anymore.
No,
And I think that's
it's
a big miss for people these days because they're never going to get to experience like here's where I'm trying to compare to. You have access to your favorite bands every day all day because of social media. YouTube. all that stuff. Dude, you didn't
Hmm.
have that back then. So when your favorite band came out on stage in 1998, you were in a different fucking world, dude.
Yes.
Yeah. Like if phones were big back then, them things were staying in your pocket because you were living that shit. Back then, you lived it. There was no fucking taking of going like this the whole time in people's faces and all that bullshit. Like you actually lived them shows. Like
Hmm.
because if you think about it, when we talk about shows nowadays, we always go back to back then. We don't ever say, "Oh, remember that show like 2 years ago?"
No, we go back to the old ones.
We go back to the old ones because they're the most memorable. And I think that's a huge, huge disadvantage for kids these days because they're never gonna fucking be able to experience that.
It's shows used to be an event.
That's what
Like
I'm saying.
it
It
was a
used to be
big
like
event where you were like, "Yo, this is amazing." Yeah.
when I have to go to a show, like when I go to a show these days, I'm just like I get home from work and I'm like eating dinner. I'm like, oh, I gotta drive down here now. Back then it was like, dude, I'm taking off of work. I'm fucking getting my 12-pack ready.
Yep. Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm going
Yep.
in the parking lot and getting ripped. Nowadays it's like if me and you went to a show, I'd be like, all right, I'm old as fuck. I'll meet you inside.
Right. And
Yeah.
there's three. The headliners got three songs left, and we're like, "Yeah, we're out."
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. We went to Fear Factory and we just met inside the bar and we were like, I was yawning already. It's like
yep.
fucking 7
Yeah, getting
p.m.
old. Getting
Yeah,
old.
it's
Yeah.
like, dude, the kids, man, they just don't realize
It was
how cool it
something.
was, dude.
Like it was something. Like you literally planned your entire day around that event. And I'm sitting here googling trying to find like images from Metal Hammer because they did all posters and they did a whole Ozzfest issue and I just what it was a wild time, man. Like I rounded up a bunch of like random friends, like seven of us went, and it was awesome. And sadly, that's not the same experience anymore. Um,
I
so I
think the
want to talk.
last time that we could really say there was an experience is when we were at Pantera and fucking, what's his name, gets out of the car next to us out of nowhere.
Oh, Chuck Billy. Chuck
Chuck
Billy
Billy
from
just
Testament
gets
gets
out
out
of
of
the
the car
car
next to us.
and we're like, what the fuck? And everyone just runs to him.
Which was really, really funny. It's I don't know. Also, maybe it's because we're older and stuff, but it's not.
Yeah.
When you were younger, it was like, yo, this is the most important thing I'm going to do this whole summer. This is fucking great. We got to do this.
Dude, Machine Head is coming Thursday. Like you're partying with your boys on Saturday. And it's like,
Yep.
yo, Machine Head is Thursday night, man.
Yep, I remember. I remember going into the Trocadero, getting into the mosh pit, putting on a woolly, and being like, "All right, let's go to battle." Just,
Yeah, you
yeah.
wake up Sunday, you start stretching.
You're like, dude, what the hell's going on here? All right, Tim, let's get us out of here. Final thoughts.
All right, let's give it a 10. Let's give it out of 10. What do you got?
All right, I can't give it a 10 because I don't think it's perfect. I think
No, it's not.
there's some weak moments in the late B side. I think I would have to give it a solid 8.
I'm gonna agree with you. It's an 8.
It's a solid 8. I think the second half kind of falls apart for me. The closer is not block. Um yeah, it's a solid 8. I mean, it's a great album. I would say the first 6 or 7 songs are all monsters, but it kind of gets a little goofy in the middle.
First song I ever heard off this record was Bay of Pigs. My buddy Doug used to burn me cassette tapes back then of like all hard. That's how I got into hardcore. My buddy Doug would burn me
Okay.
tapes. I remember like he would burn me tapes that would have like H2O on it, Gorilla Biscuits, Civ, all that kind of shit. And then randomly Bay of Pigs is just on there. And this is back when that came out, and I'm like, yo, who the fuck is this? And it was Machine Head Bay of Pigs. And it took me forever when CDs started coming out to find that song for some reason, because you didn't have Soul Seek back then. You didn't
Mm-hmm.
have all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember finally finding Bay of Pigs again and going, oh my God, this is one of the best things I ever heard. Because that song's an absolute banger.
Yeah,
It's
it's good.
different from everything they did in them songs. Like if you think about Bay of Pigs, it's completely different. That's more on like the punkish.
Yeah,
It's more on the punkish side of things.
more
But
of their more Bay Area punk rock.
exactly,
Yes, yes.
exactly. That's that song that personifies that sound, in my opinion.
I When I think of this album, you know what I think of? I think of me sitting in the computer lab at college and spending $48 on the slim single "Take My Scars"
Yeah.
because the B side was Nirvana, a cover of Negative Creep.
Oh, they did that?
Yes. And I think it was from like CD Now or before Amazon. It was one of those online CD retailers that did bootlegs and imports and all that stuff. And I remember never getting it. I never got it, and I actually got a refund for it. And I just remember being like, I just want to hear them cover Nirvana.
Is that online right now?
I don't. It probably is on Spotify. Yeah.
I mean, I'll just take YouTube at this point.
Let's see here. Machine
Yeah, look
Head
that up before we get out here in a second.
Negative Creep
But yeah,
cover.
while you're looking up, to me, yeah, it's an 8 out of 10, and you know, I think when I think about Burn My Eyes, I would give that a 9. Honestly, I I I, I think with these two records though, the opener tracks of both these records are just monsters.
That I mean, you want to talk about something that makes you want to kill somebody? Yes, yes. I did find it. It is if you go on YouTube, the Machine Head channel actually has it. It's from the Heart of Roadrunner compilation, which apparently is all their rare and unreleased stuff. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
What is the opener of Burn My Eyes? Is it Davidian?
Davidian.
Yeah, I mean, come on, dude, that is an absolute
Yeah.
classic track, dude.
Yep.
How many bands have covered that intro at their shows?
Uh, countless,
Yeah,
countless.
I mean it's yeah, that is a masterclass record in my opinion. When we talk
Yes.
about that shit, I don't give that lightly or take that lightly. That's a masterclass recording.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right,
Uh,
let's get the fuck out of here.
let's get out of here. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening, watching, tuning in again. If you like what you heard, please like, comment, subscribe. Please just leave us comments. We want to hear feedback. We want to hear feedback on what you like, what you don't like. New episodes every Friday at 12 p.m. Reaction vids on new episodes every Wednesday, 12 p.m. Eastern. New reaction vids every Friday at 12 p.m. You're gonna see some interesting shit coming up. Kind of get into it. Shorts, clips, Mondays and Tuesdays. Find us, New Breed underscore podcast, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. New Breed Podcast at gmail.com, 267-297-4627. If you want to call and give us a message, check out the merch store. We have Death to False Nu Metal hoodies. Shout out to Ramon Martos from the And Justice for Art. Check out his stuff. See you next week, everybody. Cheers.